Episode 606.
Shameless.
Huang Shaotian kept up his endless chatter as he hurriedly closed in. Though they'd never faced an unspecialized in combat before, given the caliber of these pro players, some basic issues were obvious without even fighting. The unspecialized class commands skills spanning 24 professions, so it will undoubtedly possess the most comprehensive offensive capabilities. Long range, close quarters, aerial combat. The unspecialized has plenty of skills for all of them. At close range, an unspecialized could be a blade master or an assassin. At long range, a gunner or an artilleryman. Walk past, and you can drop a couple traps, see someone fall, and they can toss a few spells to sweep the floor. At this point, the two characters were a fair distance apart. Huang Shaotian's troubling rain had lost its ability to attack, so he had to find a way to close the gap. Generally, classes that need to close the distance like this are ranged attackers. Getting close is already half the battle won. But what about facing an unspecialized? Getting close only ended their inability to attack from range. But when it came to face-to-face combat, the unspecialized wasn't intimidated in the slightest. Troubling rain charged in, but Lord Grimm didn't retreat a single step as he fired his gun. Any other class from the gunner branch would never just stand there waiting for a blade master to charge in for close combat. But an unspecialized has no such fear. Close the gap, stow the gun, and greet them with a short sword or a spear. Troubling rain closed in, but Lord Grimm's myriad manifestations umbrella never stopped firing. As the distance shrank, it flipped again, gun to spear. This sudden shift was essentially the same technique Huang Shaotian used with his reverse wind sword. Huang Shaotian had already been on guard. He was an expert at this game himself. This time, the spear morphing from a gun finally failed to trouble him much. Troubling rain spun on his heel and swung a diagonal slash. But then came a loud whoosh. The myriad manifestations umbrella had actually become an umbrella, opening right in front of troubling rain. That sword strike landed on the umbrella's canopy, and then Lord Grimm thrust it forward. In an instant, Huang Shaotian's screen was filled with nothing but a massive circle. The pattern on it was actually quite beautiful, almost as if it were spinning, like a screensaver.
That's just shameless.
Huang Shaotian grumbled as he moved, repositioning himself with every step. This is a standard knight tactic. They just shove their shields right in your face. The glory perspective is completely based on the human binocular field of view. When these knights block that spot with their shields, this is the result.
You really have no trouble using every dirty trick in the book, do you?
Huang Shaotian cursed and repositioned himself. This situation needed resolving fast. They're blocking your view with a shield, not playing hide and seek. A knife could be coming your way any second. To break this stalemate, you had to create distance fast. Distance meant field of vision. Only then could you see the situation clearly. The real inconvenience of this dirty trick was that the user could never gauge the full extent of its effect, since there was no way to peek at the opponent's screen. Clearly, this was another trick that came down to the details. But for a veteran known as the textbook, mastery of every game detail was precisely Yi Shu's greatest advantage. Field of vision, distance control, Ye Shu had long since mastered these to perfection. For tricks like these, ones that aren't tied to any skill, his execution was even more refined than the most elite knight players. Because this isn't about understanding a class, it's about understanding the finer details of glory. So the moment he pushed the myriad manifestations umbrella forward, Yi Shu knew for certain he had successfully triggered the screensaver. Huang Shaotian was definitely trying to create distance to cancel the screensaver, but the moment he pulled back sharply, the screensaver retracted, not backward, but forward. In that instant, the shield transformed into a battle spear.
Damn it.
Huang Shaotian was caught completely off guard, tears streaming down his face. Troubling Rain was hit square by a dragon tooth, a skill designed to induce stun, and the follow-up combo was not to be missed. Then Lord Grimm swept up with a sky strike, and Troubling Rain went airborne.
That's so shameless.
Huang Shaotian's character was airborne, but his mouth wasn't idle. He cursed through gritted teeth. A screensaver is one thing, but one that turns into an attack. That's not something your average knight has. A knight always keeps his weapon and shield clearly separated, but this style of fighting, absolutely unprecedented in Glory's history. And then Huang Shaotian caught up. The onlookers were quick to chime in with their own commentary.
This is way too much to think about.
Yeah, you can never see these changes coming.
If there were fewer changes, it wouldn't be so bad. But there are too many of them. They've covered every single class.
All classes, that's for sure. But what I can't figure out is whether all classes just means 6, or if there are sub-specializations within each one.
6? Definitely more than that. Hey, look. A shield just showed up.
This is really giving me a headache.
The pro players had already reached a unanimous verdict. Going up against an unspecialized was a real brain burner of a matchup. For the pro players watching on the sidelines, the outcome of this match didn't matter to them, not one bit. In everyone's eyes, Huang Shaotian and his troubling reign were nothing more than lab rats at this point. No matter how he messed around, everyone's focus stayed on Lord Grimm, especially the weapon in his hand. Even if Huang Shaotian was a lab rat, he was an elite one. Using him as a benchmark only highlighted how troublesome this unspecialized really was. They could only exchange a few brief comments before snapping their attention back to the match. A one-on-one match, even at its longest, only lasts a few minutes. There's hardly any dead air for everyone to freely chat. Dragon Tooth had stunned him, and Sky Strike launched troubling rain into the air, keeping him suspended for a long time. Lord Grimm stayed right on his tail, seizing the opening to land several consecutive hits. Huang Shaotian had no choice. Ye Chu's combo was executed with flawless precision. Making a rash move like Silverlight Slash now would only waste a cooldown. Those who are skilled at seizing opportunities are even more skilled at waiting. Huang Shaotian kept up the noise, all the while carefully tracking Lord Grimm's attacks. Skill angle, timing, weapon form, reach. Every detail worth noting, every detail a potential opening. This is the difference between a pro and a rookie. A rookie sees nothing in the details. A veteran might see the difference, but can't seize the opening. A pro can spot the difference and seize the opportunity. Seize enough of them, and you become a god-tier player. Ye Chu and Huang Shaotian were both undisputed masters. As Huang Shaotian watched Ye Chu's attack sequence, he ground his teeth in frustration, and his noise grew even louder. No one is perfect. Even Ye Chu can't nail every single detail to perfection. But he knows how to allocate his attention wisely, because sometimes, even if you don't hit perfection on certain details, the opponent might not be able to exploit them anyway. That was exactly how Ye Chu operated. If you wanted to be harsh, his combo was full of holes. But a hole the opponent couldn't exploit wasn't really a hole at all.